Hey everybody, Dan here and Merlin, and this is it. The final Freaks and Geeks Friday. We're going to talk about the final episode ever of Freaks and Geeks, Discos and Dragons. Now, before we really get into it, I told you from the start, because one of your big questions, knowing it was a one-season show, was, is it going to leave me on this horrible cliffhanger? And I told you no. And as we learned about 6 or 7 episodes ago, they purposely wrote this thinking, okay, this could act as a season finale if we get picked up, but also it kind of acts as a finale. Did you feel, before we get into the details, satisfied with this as a finale episode?
Mostly,
okay.
Mostly.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not going to wrap up everything.
There were a few things we'll talk about that I was not totally satisfied with.
Okay.
Which surprised me, but mostly. I'd say
right.
mostly.
So,
we're also going to, when we sum it up, we'll talk about the whole show. It'll be a long one.
Going to talk about the whole show.
Hope you are strapped in for this.
All right. So before we get started on the episode, let's talk about something that I've been teasing for the last few weeks, which is the Freaks and Geeks alternate universe. It's called on the DVD, which is screen tests for characters that were auditioning for other roles.
Oh yeah.
How would you have felt if Lindsay and Kim Kelly switched? Busy Phillips plays Lindsay, and Linda Cardellini plays Kim Kelly. Very different, I think.
It would have certainly been different interpretations. It's hard to say if I would have liked it better, but you know what I think? I think that each one of those actresses could have made it their own, and I think they both could have done the job well. Actually,
okay,
I do. Because I think maybe for Busy Phillips, I'm not as familiar with her other work. I think she plays that character really well. I think it might have been harder for her to play the more straight-laced character, but I think Cardellini could have done the rogue kind of rebellious one.
I think we've seen Cardellini do just about every style there is. I mean, Busy on like Cougar Town, she also played sort of the bitch, I guess.
I think she plays that well.
I think that would be interesting. Now,
but I think she could have done the lead. I think that she could have done well.
Is that right?
I do. I think she could have.
Then she would be a regular.
Then she would definitely be in the credits, and Cardellini would be forgotten.
Yes, that would have stopped there.
Cardellini is my friend.
It would be called, Cardellini. And also, the guest star in tonight's episode, who you know I love, and I always forget her real name, Lizzie Kaplan, from The Interview, Masters of Sex, all the things. She auditioned for Lindsay as well. And they said, you know what? Nah, you're not really right for Lindsay, but we like you.
Bring it back.
We'll bring you back. And she's been in a couple of episodes. I think this is the third one she appears in.
Yeah.
I think she's in the pilot and one other one, and then this one.
I'll be honest, I forgot about her and for some reason.
Yeah, well, she hasn't been in an episode for like 10 or 12 episodes, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
that's the girlfriend, right?
Next girlfriend,
girlfriend. Yeah, I liked her, and I remembered, I recognized her, like, I know her from somewhere, but I couldn't place her.
Yeah, she shows up a lot in, like, more bit roles, but some of them are, like, Rogan, Apatow type productions.
Seen her around.
She probably was in This Is the End, come to think of it. But then also, instead of Coach Biff, you may have had Coach Mr. Weir, because Joe Flaherty auditioned for the coach. I think that would have been not as good, because he's so great as the dad. He would have been okay as the coach.
I think he would have been fine as a coach, but we would have missed out on his dad jokes with his
dad jokes,
his no nonsense, old school behavior.
And also, I don't think he could have done properly the subplot with Bill's mom.
The more touching
I don't think
stuff.
That's believable as the coach.
Even just with even interacting with the geeks, I think would have been tougher to sell.
Yeah.
As well. So no, I think Coach Biff should have stayed.
I think Coach Biff was the way to go on that. What a classic! And then the other one was.
Whole show, I still don't know his name.
I don't know. Seth Rogen did not audition for another specific part, but he auditioned to be a geek. Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think of all of them.
Just not him.
It's hard to picture Franco as an original geek, although we'll get into some things in this episode.
Yeah.
But I think of the three guys that are freaks, he makes the most sense as a geek.
I think so.
Don't you think?
Yeah, it would just and that's kind of his personality. He's got a little bit of both anyway, so he probably could have brought some of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he's more of like a more mature version of Neil. So like I'm not sure that may have either not worked
maybe
or
as like a side character, like a Gordo.
Yeah, like maybe like a Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we saw everybody in this episode.
I'm telling you, they were inducted by the end.
Yeah,
they're
actually.
full group now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
All right, so that's all I have for that. But
okay, that's
I just
cool.
think that's interesting that, that happens a lot in shows and movies. They'll audition for different things. But I think it would have been a very different show.
In a lot of ways.
With Busy Phillips as the star.
I think it still could have been good. Who knows if it would have been better.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I
mean, the writing is so good.
I feel like everybody probably was where they should have been.
Yeah.
But you could have tweaked it and it could have still been pretty good.
I think the casting is pretty good on
it's
the show.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of its strengths is letting finding the right person for the part.
Yeah, that's very true.
Playing with the writing a little to adjust it. Like I said, it's all the takes, the freedom to explore different things. Like that's great. And run out of money and can't get a second season.
And then NBC says goodbye.
Yeah. So pros and cons for sure.
Yeah. All right. So Discos and Dragons.
Great title.
Yes. And what should we talk about first? I mean, the discos is the first thing we see in the title and the first scene.
Well, it's weird because this one you've got the disco plot,
right?
The dragons plot. You've got kind of
Lizzie has her own plot.
So you've kind of got three.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I guess we should.
So maybe talk about Lindsay first, since she's not even in the one of the title.
Oh man.
Plots, but of course it is her show.
It is her. She's the main character. So I oh man, that's tough.
But I feel like we talk about her last though because
it's her. She's her arc. We should end with her.
Yeah, I mean the show certainly ends with her.
Well then let's. This is tough because we're gonna probably get. All right. Well, basically.
Let's talk about the discos first.
All right, discos. Basically, Nick has a new girlfriend that's gotten him into disco, which is a big twist because he used to hate disco. So Seth Rogen,
big disco hater.
Ken's like, what is going on? And
well, first how do they discover?
Well, don't they just see him at the freaking
they apparently
that bowling alley?
They apparently have a ritual where they go
and make fun
just
of disco.
Shout disco sucks.
And they disco sucks, and they see him there, and they're shocked.
It's Kim Kelly, Lindsay, it's everybody but him.
And they see him there, and they're like, "What's going on?"
They turn around, jaw drops. Joan Jett starts playing with the theme song.
Yeah, that's it. And like we said, we just kind of reveal that he's, I guess, really into this girl, we suspect, and is getting into disco because of her. And he seems to be.
Well, we're not sure why he's into her because some people think
that he wants to make Lindsay jealous still, even though he's.
What was your thoughts about that?
See, this is the problem with this episode. We're gonna bounce. We can't. I can't do synopsis without.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
right.
No, fine. Let's do it.
But like,
all right.
What did you think of that?
Honestly,
because it never really. I mean, he denies it, but it never actually gets resolved.
And that's part of the issue. Okay.
Wow.
On one hand, I think that he liked this girl genuinely, and he has a line where he says she loves me as the main thing he's interested in, which is kind of a big.
Not I love her,
and I like this about her. No, she loves me. That's it. That's the main thing he gives. Which is a very telling line.
And she reveals to him in this episode that she's been watching him from afar for a while.
For a long time, so happy. So she's really into him, which he likes.
Yeah.
So how I felt about it.
Is that all he likes about her?
I'd like to think not, because I like the character in the episode, but I'm going to say for the writing on the... No. It's pretty clear what's going on, Dan. There's not... All right. Okay,
so you think it is to make Lindsay jealous?
Backtracking to just the discos. Okay,
yeah.
Combining that with that.
Okay.
It was difficult for me, Dan. Because on one hand, this is one of my issues with the episode. Spoilers. Okay. I can't. There's going to be a lot of this. The only thing I had 100% an issue with that I was kind of this everything with Nick.
Really?
Maybe, and we'll get into it, I'm sure.
Okay.
But I liked, on one hand, I thought the disco thing, combined with him getting with this girl, was him moving on, changing, breaking free from his snobbish music stuff, which we talked about the other night.
Yeah.
New boundaries.
Actually, yeah.
But it also seemed like really out of character, based upon everything in this episode. And then they tease when we basically find out he is not completely over Lindsay. Actually, he's trying hard to like bury those feelings to move on.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
Well, it still hurts him. It's still, pretty fresh. It's only a few months.
So clearly, it's not entirely true. And the disco thing, which when we get to towards how that storyline resolves, it's clearly, it's kind of a flat, open-ended, not feel-good thing, which maybe it's realistic, but I did not know. I can't say that I felt satisfied with Nick's whole thing. That's the only. Everything else.
Interesting.
I mean, there was one other thing we'll talk about that I'm not 100% about.
Because that's actually something I really enjoyed about this episode.
I liked some of the things about it.
Okay.
Like him, like they're building up to the dance competition, like he wants to build up to it, and he has skill with it. And he says, "Oh, you things turns out the thing you hate you're really good at." You know, there's some good exchanges. Some of the disco lines were actually good.
Yeah, I guess
some of the songs.
I guess I should let you finish the synopsis, but
no, go ahead.
But yeah, how about they
some
brought
of the jams were good.
Well,
actually,
okay, so
for disco, I was like, they actually picked a few of the ones that were good.
So Paul Feig wrote and directed this episode.
Yeah, I saw that.
And this happened to him. He literally entered a disco contest.
This happened to him?
This really happened to him.
All right, that also made me mad.
He entered this. What, did it happen to him?
And then the episode, because I felt, I guess that's jumping. Basically,
let's keep going, I guess, with the synopsis.
It leads, I'm trying to think if I'm skipping anything.
Because we talked about the contest. So basically, he's in this dance contest. He wants everybody to come see him.
Support him. And eventually, Ken does kind of come and is still like I'm going to go make fun of him. And he gets kicked out because he's like, Disco's dead. And it isn't really that busy. So Disco is dying because it's like 81. So
and then we learn.
But that the guy, the bouncer,
security guard,
like, actually, I agree with you. Rock on. Come back next week. For who's playing, I forget what he said.
It's good. They're going to close the disco,
and then it's going to be more.
And he's like, next week it's Foxy Box.
Yes, so you're actually right, but I have to kick you. So that was
right.
And that's all.
I got to do my job.
That's all we get from Ken. So that's his last scene, which was a nice little thing.
I was all right with it,
but it was all right.
Ken was a little nudge. He was a little nudge the whole show, like throwing out his comments. I thought it was actually a perfect end to Ken's character.
Ken was fine with that. He got his little thing like rock on.
Because last week we saw that he was happy with the girl, and Ken, so he has a happy.
He had a couple really good episodes.
Yeah,
I'm fine with Ken. But then, basically, him and Lindsay have a heart to heart, where he's basically, it basically resolves like, hey, it's fine, whatever you got to do, what you got to do.
Yeah,
and they've got that really obvious slow-mo thing where he's pained and it's almost like he wants to like go to her but doesn't, says heck with it, I'm gonna go in on the disco thing, gonna be with this girl, and then gets usurped by the magic actor who doesn't dance, which actually angered me. I guess it's real. That made me so mad, and I agree with Nick. I'm like, he's doing magic,
and
I was just like,
not actually dancing.
And so I guess that was kind of funny. But the last scene of Nick is just like him torn and sad about his situation, what he's doing, lost the girl with a girl he may not love, gave up everything to do the disco, actually sucked at disco. I'm sorry, Dan. It was a downer.
He was very bad at it.
He was better than the magic.
He was better than the magic act. He was better than the magic act. But
it's like he lost everything about himself, tried to do something totally different, and still, I guess, has to find himself. Which, I'll say it, maybe that's realistic.
Why?
But was I happy with it? Did I like it?
I guess not.
Not really, Dan.
It doesn't sound like it.
I didn't like it. I would
say.
I think everybody else got a nice little, yay. Nick, I thought Nick got effed. Like, right.
Okay, but look.
I felt like I thought it was mean-spirited.
Really?
I thought it was sad. I felt bad for him. Like, everybody kind of got like a little something at the end, except for Nick. Everybody gets a little good for you, a nudge, positive. Nick, he's still stuck in a kind of I
guess that's true.
Compared to everybody else.
I guess that's true.
And I don't know how I felt about it.
One might say...
Like, why realistic?
Very realistic.
great. I guess.
Look, the whole series, from that second, I guess, episode, Beers and Weirs, where he's drunk and he's pawing at Lindsay and this and that.
Yeah.
John Bonham just died.
Flawed
I'm so
character.
upset. I think...
Young guy.
I think
Struggling.
Nick, sad to say, is the character that gets the least amount of arc.
Oh.
I don't think he gets the shaft necessarily, but...
I think he had some growth in this one, but it wasn't the happy kind of... It was a... maturity...
Like you said, he's still searching for something.
He's still searching.
He's trying this.
And
doesn't really work out.
And what I'm saying...
But he's still searching. So, in terms of arcs...
It's there. The thing is, Dan, my issue was that for a theoretical season and series finale, which they pretty much knew about,
they pretty much did it.
Felt like that wasn't much of a conclusion. It was more like, well, you're right. After all this, he's still kind of in the same spot, except maybe a little worse. Though I guess he cleaned up his act. At least
cleaned up his act a little bit. I mean, look, the episode where he stayed at the house was pretty good.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm not saying they even had to get together, but it was like a sad final shot of him. I didn't really like.
Okay, well, think about this though.
It made me sad.
His drum set is gone. So he meets this girl, turns to disco because he can't drum anymore, really.
He tries to get the rhythm out on the way.
Nick has really been trying this whole series to
find his thing.
I mean, look, we just watched Soul, the last couple days.
Yeah.
You find your spark. And for him, he thought it was drumming, and maybe it's not, because clearly he's not that good at drumming. He's not that great at disco dancing. What is his thing? Would we have found out in season 2?
Maybe.
We don't know. I personally think it would have been a cheat to give him something in this final episode that he showed no interest in previously, and he was all of a sudden amazing at it and lived this happy life.
Well, I'm not saying
that's not the character. I don't think. I mean, if you think about everybody, I think he has the least amount of growth, and that's okay. I don't hate that. He obviously is, lovelorn. He's gotten his heart broken.
Yeah.
He's had certainly interesting episodes.
Sure.
But I think, of all the freaks, he's the one who is most interested in romance.
Yeah.
Which is hard to come by in high school.
Yeah, that's
real
true.
romance. Because if you think
he's
about
the most passionate.
Like Kim and Daniel are dating, but they kind of hate each other.
So you think Nick's supposed to be kind of a tragic character?
Of course.
Oh.
Don't you?
Yeah, but doesn't mean I'm happy about it.
Well, you don't have to be happy about it. But
I would have liked it if it was a little nicer. Because it's like everybody else gets something and he gets D. I want to curse. He gets F. He gets S'd on a little bit. I don't
disagree with that.
And I'm not saying it had to be perfect, Dan. I'm just saying could you made it feel like you were like it just felt like they just had it in for him.
What did his friends do to help him though?
Nothing.
They
sucked.
Right. So
Ken came there to tell him he was a piece of crap sellout.
I understand, and
it's frustrating for me.
It can be frustrating, and that's okay.
And that was the spoilers. That was my biggest issue with it. Maybe it's fine, but can you see where I'm coming from?
I absolutely see your point.
I felt a little cheated.
I see your point.
It's like
but it doesn't affect me in the same way because I think that was the point of his character.
I suppose it was.
I
guess I felt juxtaposed. It just felt like,
But look, at the end of the day, okay, maybe he is still in love with Lindsay, whatever. Yeah. But, look, he has this girl.
She's nice.
Who is nice.
She is very nice.
She's very, very nice.
Yeah.
Clearly likes him.
I did like her a lot.
And the one sort of silver lining you could say about that is that, okay, Nick maybe did find somebody that he's a little more compatible with. Maybe he,
all right,
does like disco. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
That was also weird. Like, did you think that was like an act of desperation?
Yes.
Because I just didn't see it.
Here's the thing.
I was like, what?
I think it was an act of desperation, but I also think
he
enjoys it
secretly.
Let's think about someone in our lives who maybe crapped on Harry Potter for 10 years, right? Harry Potter sucks. I hate Harry Potter. Go F yourself, Daniel Radcliffe. And then watched it loves it. So I think,
All right.
I do think
It
that
happens.
yes,
It happens.
he went to disco as an act of desperation. But
he actually
I
listened
think
to
he
it.
actually found that he likes
That's
it.
why he was like, "What disco has some good beats, some
Right.
good drum, and he's not wrong."
Unlike Daniel with the punk thing. Daniel tried that
Didn't
with
work.
punk, and it did not work.
See, also, this is
So-
another episode. Once again, the stories kind of coalesce around identity.
Oh, yeah.
and once again,
Well, I think that's the purpose for it being the finale.
Yeah,
Is that
like-
people are really striking out on their own to find out
it's
maybe
what they're going to stick with.
what they're good at, or what
Who they
your spark
are.
is, classic soul. But no, look, I don't. I get what you're saying about Nick, but I think
It's just I wish there
personally
was something.
there is something though. I think he found something he's passionate about. Maybe he's not great at dancing, but he did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he finally found a girl who
Likes him.
clearly likes him, and maybe he's not quite all the way there yet with her.
No,
I think, like you said, he's still hung up on Lindsay. We get that
clearly, yeah.
clearly. But I think that's okay. I think he can still be with Lizzie Kaplan and not be sort of lying to her or whatever.
I guess that's what bothered me is I wasn't sure how he really felt about her. Yeah, I guess that's what bothered me.
Well, okay,
that's
look,
what bothered
look.
me because it's a common thing.
It's a 12-minute bit in the
All right,
series finale.
all right,
It's
Dan,
we don't get a
Dan,
full picture
Dan,
of it,
That's the issue.
and that's not Paul Feig's fault. It's not
I know it's not.
Jason Segel's fault.
I know it's not their fault.
But
I was looking at the runtime and I was thinking because it got to that scene. We got to the bowling scene or whatever where
dance off.
they're having the heart to heart. And I looked and I just looked. I'm like, what? There's 10 minutes left. What? Like you can't squeeze a few. Sometimes for season finales they'll give you a few more minutes. I was like, and I felt like there were some scenes. There was a scene or two on the cutting room floor that could have just expanded things a little.
All right.
Just a little.
Maybe, but look, at the same time, look,
Uh,
your main character of the show is Lindsay. It's not Nick.
I know.
I'm sorry, but it's not Nick.
I
And
know.
she factors into Nick's finale,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Lindsay and Sam are the stars of the show. And luckily, we got a little bit extra with the Geek story because we got an extra person.
Which is great.
Which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But I have always actually really enjoyed the way they wrap Nick's character up.
Wow.
I'm sorry to hear that it's so
I was
upsetting to you.
I thought it was a little disappointing. I felt like it was wanting a little bit,
That is Nick. Nick is wanting a little bit.
which is thematically fine.
That's been his character. Did you like that they brought back the leisure suit salesman
Yes,
as the DJ?
yes, that was good. That was good.
Good casting again.
Good casting was good. So
And Seth Rogen even throws the line at him.
Yes.
So we know it's the same character,
Same
not
guy.
just the same actor.
that's right.
Which playing a different
was like,
part.
I thought it was the same guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Joel Hodgson from Mystery Science Theater.
So maybe it was well done, but I guess
I
didn't-
always felt that it was actually. And
but I didn't really like the way it made me feel.
how about the song?
The songs were good.
Groove Line by The Heatwave is a song I was not familiar with ever until I saw this show. And I find myself pretty
Well
versed with the music.
it's funny because thematically, obviously music's a big part of the show, and they open up the series with disco sucking, they hate it,
Right.
and then they end it with some pretty good disco songs.
Yeah, and Paul Feig said that actually because he had this same issue, big rocker, but
It's funny.
he wanted to be a disco dancer or whatever. He was terrible at it, but he always really liked this song.
That's funny.
And so he purposely made that in the show. But I like the little touches about like the Rolling Stones are now making disco records.
Yeah,
Disco's
they're doing what
great,
they know it, man.
da.
But they're actually it's a passing fad now. So.
Which was true though at the time. Like Rolling Stones did a disco record, Kiss did a disco record. Rockers were heading in that direction,
And then it was gone.
And then it was gone. One of my favorite actual scenes of Ken's in the entire series is when him and Nick are at the lunch table. And Nick's like, "Oh, haven't you heard, whatever by whoever? It's
No.
a pretty good song." And he was like, "Thank God, no, I haven't, but I
No,
can
it
tell
sucks.
you it's not good."
Like that's a very classic.
That always makes me laugh
thing.
out loud.
That was a good scene. See, Ken's always got some good lines.
Ken's always got the bits. I actually thought this was a very good Ken episode.
It was. Ken was bouncing around.
Yeah, he didn't have any main plots,
but I liked that he contributed because he's like, man, like Lindsay, please get back together. I can't handle this.
Right,
I can't handle this.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. Yeah, he was a good Ken episode. Yes.
All right, so I think that's all about the discos. I guess
that's
clearly
the discos.
You hated that part.
I didn't say I hated it.
I think we might have some issues with our grades,
possibly.
But all right, so the Dragons
was great.
Comes in with Daniel.
Yes.
Trying to get out of a test by pulling the fire alarm.
Punching it, actually.
Actually, right, punching the glass to break the fire alarm.
And then Rosso.
And then your buddy Rosso.
Oh.
Who factors in both plots.
Yes.
Both Lindsay and Daniel's plots.
Like minor bits, but he's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, look, Daniel, I've been nice so long.
Right.
I only get mad when people take advantage of my niceness. So.
And we saw last week that he can get mad.
That's true.
Ben Stiller episode.
But in this one, Classic says that, and it's still nice.
Still very nice.
I love he's like, I'm not going to be nice. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I like it. I like them out. You just
Look.
But that's the great thing.
How did you feel about that scene?
I loved it.
Me too.
Because his classic guidance counselor, because he's trying to be mean, and he's still in guidance counselor mode.
Right.
So I loved it.
But what about Daniel's attitude? Because that's the part I love the most.
Well, Daniel
clearly
wants to try and change his situation.
He's been wanting to try and change now for like half of the season.
He was tired of being the way he is.
He was tired of being a burnout. He was tired of being a joke. He was tired of being a failure. And so the only reason he did this was to get out of the test. I don't know if he ever actually tells Rosso that. If he does, I don't think we see it. But so Rosso decides, okay, how about you spend time with the AV club, and
what a punishment.
Do you think that was a punishment?
Yes and no. It was a punishment, but he knows the Geeks. He knows that I think he thought this might be a way for. He knew it was up. Maybe this is a way for him to find an outlet, a passion.
That's exactly
a good group of people.
What I
get
think.
Him on the weird track.
Yes.
Get him
Here's
on the
what I
track.
think. Look, Rosso
is the guy.
He's the guy. He is the most observant person at the school.
He knows everybody's behavior.
I think
he knows who.
He genuinely has been seeing that Daniel's been trying to change a little bit.
He's been watching the show.
He's been watching the episodes, reading the scripts, and seeing that Daniel. But no, I really think that he's been
watches.
Seeing this, and instead of saying like, okay, detention, suspension, whatever.
Yeah.
I think we're going to try to put you here. Now, I don't think he thinks of how it might affect the AV club and what their members might think.
Well, he doesn't always put the most thought into every aspect, but it sounds like a good idea.
I think he did that on purpose to see if Daniel can excel at that. Even before we get to that scene, we see the AV club talking about Monty Python.
Oh, yeah. By the way, that teacher that runs it, I was like, where
you recognize him?
No.
He is a lot younger here. At the time, he was one of the... Well, actually, this might have been before he got SNL. He was one of the head writers on SNL for about a decade. Along with like Tina Fey, when Seth Meyers was there, he was a writer. But he came up with Paul Feig and Apatow in this like comedy troupe, whatever.
Nice.
But where you might recognize him from now is... he is the announcer on and sort of sidekick on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show. Steve Higgins is his name, and he announces, and then he also has like a little bit of back and forth during the monologue with Jimmy. I think Jimmy Fallon's kind of a hack, so I don't watch the show. But
honestly, I was looking at his physique, and I went to Conan's buddy for a
second. Richter.
But I was like,
yeah.
It's like, so his guy.
There's a good Richter. But there's a good sidekick.
The Richter is
there's a good Richter.
The actual one.
But no, I think Steve Higgins is funny. But yeah, so that's how he got that.
I like that scene, and he does the little, whole like jocks peek here because they knocked over their books.
Oh yeah, and talk about that. That was a great speech.
He's like, oh, like they're gonna peek here. Okay, well, like Pee Wee football, got high school, and then college. I'm not doing so well. I break my knee. Now I'm selling used cars. Where's the bottle of alcohol? You guys are gonna go to college, and girls like the smart guys, and it'll work out for you. And I was just thinking, where's this teacher been the whole show? He's one of the great Geeks and Geeks teachers.
I know.
He's top three.
Definitely top three teachers.
He's so I was like, I love this AV club guy.
Yeah,
I know that scene was just beautiful. And so I was like, what are we gonna do now? And then he says, enjoy the little bits of life and Monty Python. And I was like,
Monty Python.
That's just, I loved it.
It was his speech was of little comfort to Sam.
Well, Sam's always.
He's like, well, we gotta wait years.
I still hate it now. Sam's always. I feel like he's always impatient.
A little bit of a sad sack sometimes. But I will say, okay, so where has he been the whole time? Okay, so basically what happened was, when Feig went to write this episode, he was in Vegas. You'll love this story, by the way.
I love it already.
He was in Vegas. I forget what show they were going to, Don Rickles maybe, but he was with Carl Weathers.
Oh.
And Tarantino.
What?
Just hanging out.
Okay.
And so,
all right.
I think he was maybe bouncing some ideas off of them or whatever, but basically they had a bunch of spare ideas in the writer's room that they hadn't done yet. One of them was one of the plots we'll get to in a moment. Lindsay becomes a deadhead. One of them is Nick falls in love with disco music.
Okay.
And because it was the finale, he was just like, you know what? I'm going to just grab a bunch of different ideas, make them all work for the finale somehow. And so I think they wanted to have Steve Higgins do something on the show. Hadn't had him on yet. So they were like, well, do you want to be the AV club teacher? Like, sure. It's one episode, da-da-da-da-da. So I think that's where he's been, is not in the show. They had too many other things going on.
Definitely, but I kind of figured that. But the backstory is awesome.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Wow, some Tarantino nuggets in Freaks and Geeks a little. That's interesting.
Yeah. Does that explain some things, maybe? I don't know.
Well, people that are associated with him tend to have some success.
Well, certainly. I'll tell you what. I bet, he didn't say this in the commentary, but I bet Tarantino was a fan because he loves retro.
And also the pop culture references.
All the pop culture references. The music is very intensive in the show.
He probably was a fan.
And obviously a love letter to the early 80s.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess 70s a little bit.
Big fan.
Yeah, big fan. Of his high school or college.
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny that he never worked with any of the people, I don't think. Franco's never done a Tarantino, right?
No Siegel, no Rogen.
The closest we got was when Jonah Hill, who wasn't in this, but of course is in that
briefly
group, was briefly in Django.
That's not even
that's,
really
I think, the closest we got, but that's adjacent only.
That's weird.
Yeah.
These days, well, that'll have to happen at some point.
I guess, yeah.
That's weird. Well,
I can see putting Franco in something.
Franco being a Westernist, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I like that teacher.
Yeah, great teacher. So anyway, Daniel comes into the AV club. Certain people hate it.
Well, okay, they're all like, what's he doing here? He's going to ruin it. We have to push him out. We're going to make him show all the films for the other classes. Make him hate it.
But Sam does defend him a little bit because he's met him.
Because they were buddies once. They've had some heart-to-hearts.
Right.
And so he's like, no, maybe he's actually more willing to accept it.
And I love that Neil brings up their last interaction.
Yeah.
He was like, he gave you a porn movie one time. I wouldn't call that
the best,
the best
relationship.
Guy. Yeah.
That is true. But no, Sam is like, no, let's try to be nice to him. Let's try to be welcoming.
Yeah.
Which I like that. I thought that was good.
I like that too.
But Sam does that.
And so he fails in doing the video.
I love that. We got to talk about it. Don't try to rush through.
Sorry.
That
was the next thing that happened.
English teacher scene.
Well, we haven't talked about the Lindsay stuff yet.
Okay, all right. Well, skip that part.
I was sort of just talking about his AV stuff.
Where the stuff, those plots cross over. Because there's that thing before he comes in, they say something. But, yes, he tries to show the movie, which he's like...
That teacher, by the way...
Like that teacher, too.
That was Linda Cardellini's real-life teacher.
What?
She didn't say theater teacher specifically, but I kind of assumed
English or something.
Because he's an actor that he was probably a theater teacher. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, she was the one who recommended him for the part.
Well, I liked him. He seemed like
he was really cool too.
And he's like, last week of school, we're going to show the 68 Romeo and Juliet, which is
classic. By the way,
classic.
We've talked about this, I'm sure, several times, not on the air, but we watched that version with the boobs.
They showed that in high school.
But when you were in high school,
I watched
DiCaprio was out.
You know,
too new, too hip.
No, this is why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah,
that version is so classic.
You saw boobs, the boobs version too.
I think we only watched certain scenes because
we saw the whole thing.
It was 9th grade English,
and we saw the boobs.
And I actually designed a lesson plan inspired by this.
Is that right?
About comparing like the different elements from the play and how it translates to a modern medium, and introducing it. My English teacher at the time showed some scenes with that. And then side by side with the Lerman
with
to show what's similar, what's different. And we watched most of the Lerman one because I think she figured people probably liked that more.
Well, it's very popular at the time.
Which I probably prefer. But the point is that 68 one, though, is classic.
It really is. I love that they were watching.
So I was like, I like that. They referenced that. So that was good. I liked his sauciness.
So he couldn't figure out
how to do it. Some other person helped him. But because of that, though, he actually kind of gets more inspired to try.
Yeah,
like remember Sam?
Well, and he looked like a goon in front of all of his friends because in that class was Nick, Lindsay, and Kim,
and they were embarrassed.
For him. So yeah, Sam comes into the AV room and sees him like looking at the manual,
trying to just do it, and he's like, "Wow, he's actually like." He was shocked, like, "Wow, he's actually trying to be good at it and learn and care," and it was awesome.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
I loved it.
So that was a great little moment.
Yeah.
Which. I guess that leads into which you referenced before. Remember, you said this will be important later.
Yes.
That one exchange with Harris, the sage.
Yeah, like 5-6 episodes ago.
Like, oh yeah, what is that? Dungeons and Dragons. You might like it sometime. And
yeah, Harris invited him that episode. He was like, "Oh, maybe you can join us sometime."
Like, I wouldn't be good at it.
Yeah.
And you can't be worse than Bill. Hey,
that's a great line.
But yeah, Neil's like, no.
Yeah, he says it again. Like, I don't think I'd be any good at it.
Yeah, but it's like, but as you know. It's not necessarily about being good. It's more like getting together,
having fun.
Good time.
Well, and Sam was sort of on his way out of it because he is kind of sick of being picked on.
Yeah, that was also before that. He's like,
so that was a little bit of a subplot too.
I don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons too geeky, but you still like it, and he actually kind of finds his love for it again by bringing someone else into it.
Yeah, by bringing some new blood in.
Carlos the dwarf.
Carlos the dwarf.
Which the thing is, they were all like, "Aha, you can't call him that," or whatever. Trolldor the warrior. But the funny thing about it is that is so genuine because you have all different people come into a game with different attitudes and how seriously they take it. You could have Carlos the dwarf.
Well, I'll tell you something about that whole thing. So the gentleman that plays Harris was on the commentary.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I think he's done a couple of them, but he is a real life player.
I could see
big D&D guy. So. He actually said that now this commentary is 8 to 10 years old, so maybe it's changed. But he said that within the community, within the D&D fandom, he said that that episode has always been praised as being pretty much the most genuine portrayal on television or in movies of a Dungeons and Dragons game.
I kind of wish
I wanted to get your opinion on that because I've only started playing with you very recently. I've only played five rounds, but
you get a taste of what it's like, and the
thing, you've played a lot longer. So what do you think of that statement?
Well, I thought it was beautiful. Like I thought, like I don't think. I mean, obviously, since I think partially because of Freaks and Geeks, Dungeons and Dragons is more accepted.
I think probably a resurgence.
It's bigger
because of that
than it's ever been.
Yeah,
and I like the
other
Diesel
we know as a fan.
Yes, and proud of it. Also, like we're a big geek too. Like all this,
but like right down to Daniel even asking like, well, if the cave has a little bit of light in it, maybe. Because I'm a dwarf, I could, and Harris was like, well, roll for it and see. That to me was like, wow, that's really how the game is played.
I even liked even the first introduction I thought was really cool because he's like, oh, like the flying sword, like what, you send your sword off to fight for you? That's stupid. No, you have to be within 3 inches apart. So you can fight people at once. He's like, interested. Oh, that's kind of cool. And I was like, that's a beautiful little, that is. So there's all kinds of ways you can play your character, and it just... The way they interacted,
good, right?
Like some people might play their character more, some people like whatever, I roll this, like, and I just love when he talks about the attributes. What are they? Oh, it tells you how well you can do this or that. Oh, so it felt really good. I wish we saw more of the game.
I know.
Listen, that was the one little.
They had a lot to get in. Look, it's a 42 whatever minute show.
But you know what?
It's the series finale. They had to give everybody their due.
And I love that Daniel at the end is like, hey, like I'd like to come again.
He actually suggests let's do it again tomorrow night.
But yeah, and that's literally what
You
he said
know?
at the beginning. Like, I don't know if I'd be any good at it, and he was like, "Well, no, it's just about eating junk food, hanging out, having a good time."
How about the line though? I think it's Bill that asks, because he's hanging out with us.
Oh yeah,
Is he becoming a geek,
or we become cool
or are
guys?
we becoming cool?
And Sam's like, I think I'll go with cool guys, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll buy that."
What's great is though,
It's
at the end of the day,
it doesn't matter what your label is. Yeah.
Harris, I think, had the right attitude. The whole series is that it doesn't matter.
It's just
as long as it's high school. As long as you're having a good time with your buddies, or even if you go outside your buddies and you have a good time, like Daniel is doing, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I always that's what you call him, the sage.
But Gordo's also got wisdom.
Well, Gordo, we didn't talk about him yet.
He
didn't really do anything specific in this episode.
Because we got to have him.
Except being awesome, but
he was good.
He was good.
He was good. He was also just very welcoming. So
yeah, he was fine with Daniel being there.
Maybe these three characters, exactly. Maybe they wouldn't have been so successful without their two wise buddies. That's why they brought them in, because
yes,
I'm glad that.
What was their life in the first half of the series? But you know what's funny is
they got killed by the bullet. Remember?
It's very possible that they didn't know these guys before 9th grade. My high school, there were it was 2 middle schools that went into it.
Okay.
So there were people that you knew and people that you didn't know.
It's a big school you went to.
Yeah, I went to an okay school.
Sounds like a big one, yeah.
So it's possible that they actually didn't really know. I mean, clearly they know Harris a little bit because they go to him in the first episode.
Yeah.
But it's possible they didn't know Gordon before freshman year.
Well, they didn't want to associate with him, remember?
He smelled. He smelled bad.
Unfortunate.
But then they learned he was cool.
That's true.
Well, cool is relative, as we're learning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point.
But whoever you want to be friends with is fine.
So you like the D&D bit?
The D&D bit was really well done.
Really well done.
It was very, very not in your face. It was very genuine, and I think it showed the most beautiful aspects of why it's a great game to bring people together.
Yeah.
Be creative. I like it. I was like, that's awesome. Great.
Can you think of any examples since that commentary would have been?
Oh yeah.
That would reflect it better, because I know
there's a lot
of YouTube videos I know of people playing, but that's not on TV.
Like Roll20 and there are bigger channels. I think Wizards of the Coast, but in terms of scripted TV.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's its sole purpose is to do D&D games.
Well, Big Bang Theory's out.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything Big Bang Theory does good.
The only other thing that came to mind is my favorite Community episode.
Yes, Community did a very famous episode of it.
Which is a really good D&D episode.
Was it realistic, though?
It's Community, so it's a little
skewed.
Fantastical and weird. But I was fine with it. Okay, what's the guy we like? The
Joel McHale?
Yes, Joe McHale, but you like him, forgive me.
Childish Gambino?
The Asian guy.
Oh, the Asian dude. Oh, Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong.
Oh, from The Masked Singer.
Yes, Ken.
From The Masked Singer and The Masked Dancer. Yep.
Ken Jeong.
I know him.
He's the guy that's he dresses up as an elf.
Right. I remember that.
So so not everybody comes to LARP, but I think that was a riff.
I'm sure it was.
Because the heart of that episode is literally trying to play D&D with this guy so he doesn't kill himself.
Right.
So that was a pretty. It's more fantastical, but I think that is up there with the heart of D&D.
Yeah.
Although I feel like the way Harris plays it and sets it up is probably more accurate to how it actually worked. Whereas Abed, his character just makes things up. He's a very free
because he's Abed.
He makes characters for people and says, "You do this." He rolls for people. In the Community game, they don't even roll their own dice.
Really?
Yeah, I hated that.
I would not care for that.
I was like, no, let me at least roll my own dice. I don't know. So
I think Harris ran a good game.
From what I saw of it, I mean, it's very basic.
Yeah.
Kill the dragon, save the princess. But
now, Big Bang Theory. I
don't know.
I've never seen a D&D episode, but I'm sure they've had them.
They've probably had several.
I know they've had Catan episodes.
Why don't we review that? Never. To be honest...
Look, I watched the first 4 seasons of Big Bang. Right. I could do reviews of it, but what's the point?
It's made me laugh, but I feel like it's kind of like a 2.5 Men where everything's
all the Chuck Lorre shows are like that.
Yeah.
After a few seasons, every joke's the same.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's talk now about Lindsay.
The big enchilada.
The big enchilada. So really,
Ugh.
her storyline sort of begins in that classroom scene that you were talking about.
Yeah, where
I mean, we see her a little bit beforehand, but
you're right.
The main part of her
Teacher's like,
thing,
guess what? Like, you know, the best, like, top 1% of our class, who's going to be selected to go to this. I think they're going to talk at a college for 2 weeks.
it's a summit. Yeah,
It's like a conference thing.
my old buddy Sheldon actually did something very similar at Yale.
Oh.
He spent, I know, God bless him, he was smart. Is smart. But he spent like 7 or 8 days at Yale at a conference.
Just hanging.
Between
Swapping.
sophomore and junior year.
Damn!
And it was like a conference kind of thing. So yeah, I get the feeling it was something similar.
That sounds pretty cool.
This one seems like more because of her debating skills.
But yeah, with the top people in Michigan, they're going to go to what school is it?
University of Michigan.
University of Michigan,
Yeah.
and just going to hang out and do like a 2-week, what do you call retreat with other good students.
Which she thought sounded horrible.
Yeah.
She thought it sounded like a waste of her summer. Da 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 da.
But you wouldn't cut into her whole summer.
No,
but I guess she didn't want to do it, and that's kind of her conflict is like, should I do it or not?
A big conflict with the parents.
Big parents, dad's like putting it down, which I liked. He was like,
Right.
no, you're doing this because getting you in a good college, whatever. He's right.
Yeah, I mean,
I all right.
He sided with him. I guess maybe Rossa was even before that. Even
Rossa
before
was like-
even before she goes home, we find out.
It's like, you're great.
Mr. Rossa finds out she doesn't want
It's
to.
like she's like, well, how dumb are people? I'm not even trying that hard because you're that smart. I believe you. You know the whole show. Like
classic. Every episode.
Can you see where I'm
tells her.
going with this, Dan?
Yes.
Can you already tell?
hated it too. So he gives her.
I'm glad you agree. Okay, never mind. Keep
What
going.
does he give her?
Shoot, what does he give
A
her?
Grateful Dead record.
Yes,
I brought this up by the
American
way.
Beauty. American
I
Beauty.
brought this up
You
by
said
the
it
way
factors.
last night.
Spoilers. You were like,
You
we
and
talked
I-
about great bands.
You and I had like an hour-long conversation because you asked me what I think the most overrated band is. We settled on AC/DC or Kiss, but my
Yes.
initial
I agree.
answer was the Grateful Dead, and I said that,
I'm not as familiar with
which
them.
is true. I think the Grateful Dead's very overrated for the fans being so obsessed.
They go
but
hardcore.
I think they have a few good songs, but
Sure.
But I said that purposely to you last night, knowing you were going to watch this episode today,
Oh,
because I
no.
do find it to be true, though. But
but
she takes the record.
listens to it.
Before she listens to it, though, she runs into 2 kids at the lunchroom.
Oh yeah, that's right. The concerts are great. They're beautiful.
Because I think Mr. Rosso saying it is one thing.
But other
Like,
people
oh,
my
Grateful
age,
Dead's great. But right, her peers. By the way, did you recognize the girl?
She looks familiar.
She should. Imagine her with blonde hair and on the OC. She's Seth's girl. One of the 2 girls that he's with. She's the one that's not Summer.
That's her. I was like, I
yeah.
know that girl.
Her name is Amory something.
Oh my goodness.
Amari Armstrong or something like that. I forget her name.
She's the
but-
nice one in the OC
But
sets.
she plays Anna in the OC. Because I
Oh,
recognized
look.
her, and I couldn't figure it out, so I had to look her up.
The OC strikes again, man.
It always does.
Great show.
Actually,
you know,
yes.
They know they. Where did she come from? Oh, here's some ideas, freaks and geeks.
Yep.
Hey, they gotta
Isn't
step
that
up her
something?
game.
I knew
I
you'd
knew.
like that.
I was like, I recognized her, but
Because
I couldn't.
she's got a
brown,
blonde-
short, like longer brown hair.
Yes.
I was like, but I knew her face.
And this is
different
2
character.
years younger, too.
And a little different character.
Well, different character, certainly. But yeah, she's blonde and 2 years older in the
Oh,
OC,
wow.
so I couldn't quite place it.
That's
but
hilarious.
Yeah,
that
isn't
is
that great?
that is of course she's from the OC.
Why wouldn't she be?
It's like Oz. It's like they're just
It's
two.
all connected.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so anyway, so she meets them
But
and
yeah,
is like,
like
okay,
oh man, go to their
they love it,
concerts,
yeah.
dance in the mud. We're gonna go. We toured like nine shows in 1 week. We
Yeah,
followed
they do
them.
the whole
This
summer
is
bit.
the best thing ever. And I guess she's interested. Listens to the album. They have the sequence where she's like connecting with
Great
it.
sequence.
Great music.
By the way.
I like the songs.
I like the songs.
So I was like, okay, Grateful Dead is
Look,
pretty good.
They chose a couple of good songs.
because I'm not as familiar, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, these are pretty good. I are good.
My biggest issue with the Dead, we could go into that, I guess, but you might actually like it because one of my issues with it is when you go see them in concert, they do like 35-minute songs because they just start riffing because everybody's high.
They jam and stuff.
That's not my bag.
Well,
but
I don't know if it would really be my type of music.
Like I like a couple of their songs on the album, but that's it.
Like folksy, kind of
Yeah.
psychedelic. I kind of like
definitely
that.
psychedelic stuff, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like going across the country for the
Who's
same
gonna
band.
do that?
Like, and I was thinking when I heard these kids, I'm like, these are kids. How are they doing? Like, I was kind of like,
one of my neighbors, 2 doors down, when I was a kid,
not 3.
not 3 doors down, He went to see. Wouldn't it be funny if he lived 2 doors down, but went to tour with 3 doors down? But he followed the Dead around for at least a summer, if not 2.
Oh my goodness! It's
And
hardcore.
I was at the time probably 10 or 11. He was about their age, and I was just like,
Wow,
"What are you, an idiot?" Like, and at the time I knew like a couple of their songs, and I was like, "Their songs are okay, but like, what are you doing, dude?"
Well connected with them, I guess.
But this was obviously like in the 80s and 90s,
The prime.
a huge thing to do.
The Deadheads.
Deadheads, huge.
I always wanted to watch that documentary, Grateful Dog, because
I've heard of that.
Because I thought the title was weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Because who died? Was it Jerry
Garcia died, yeah.
So,
but they still tour. The rest of them still tour with people in his place. John Mayer toured with them for a while.
wow. So they still go with that? Wow.
Yeah, it's called. It's not usually called Grateful Dead. It's usually called either Phil Lesh and Company or Phil Lesh and Friends or whatever. But
Grateful Dead too.
It's like 3 or 4 of the guys from the Dead, with other top-notch musicians. The musicianship is great.
So people respect them on a musical level.
But these hippies, I don't think do. I think they just like the experience for them.
So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter what the music
because they're smoking.
But that's what I don't get about it. But anyway,
on the Grateful Dead element specifically.
Yes.
No,
which now has sort of transformed in like the band Fish, like that's sort of
Fish. Yeah.
But
that's true.
But anyway, so
Fish,
she ends up getting into this music, coming back and talking to the kids about it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, dude, this is hot times."
I forget, when does she say she's talking about she's like not really into the going to the conference.
Yeah.
Talks to Kim about it, and Kim's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because Dana just got done talking about, "Oh man, like this sucks."
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry you get to be in AV Club, so she's kind of upset about that fight, and she's like, "Well, I'm sorry your life's so hard. You're smart.
Right.
You have opportunity. You're going to get to go. I won't necessarily
she's
get
like,
you."
I'm never going to leave this town.
Like, she doesn't be like, I'm a different person. Like, what do you mean? And that was a pretty strong moment. And
Very strong.
And I'm kind of, Dan.
Tell me.
Maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy, but I'm with the dad. I'm with Kim. I'm a little mad right now already.
Woo!
Is that weird? Is it weird?
No, it's not weird.
I feel
because
I didn't write the show
because I hate the Deadhead culture.
So that's why it's not.
I very much dislike
mixed feelings.
What happens?
I don't like it.
But
that much.
But
really, maybe it's a temporary.
It seems to be
in spirit
very much in line with what Lindsay's character has been doing the entire season. It's another theme of trying to find yourself.
Yeah, it's fine.
This and that.
It's realistic.
To me,
it's realistic.
Like if Sheldon had said to me, "Oh, I have this opportunity to go to Yale for the week and learn all this stuff and mingle with all these professors and da 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 da,"
yeah.
but instead I'm gonna go tour with Fish, I would be like, "What the F are you doing?" So no, I agree with you. In the real world,
for a second I thought you were gonna be like, "Go tour."
No,
Fish
I would say, "What the F are you doing?" Go to Yale. So in the real world, I agree with you.
But in the context
of this show, I think it makes sense for the character.
Oh, I guess it does.
I really do.
It's kind of a Nick situation where I'm like, I get it, but I don't really like it,
and that's okay.
Which I don't know.
I don't think it makes it bad writing.
No. Well, all right. Let me.
Well, we didn't actually finish the arc. So basically, they see her off at the bus station.
Yes.
She gets off. She gets on the bus. Bye, everybody. Love you all. She does kiss. She does kiss Neil.
And Bill, and didn't have to pay for it, which was my favorite part. Because he gets a kiss
for free,
just being
not bring her anything. But so she gets on the bus. We assume she's going to the conference. She gets off a little bit later and sees Kim with these like dreads and the other hippies,
go off and
they're all going to go tour
with the Grateful Dead.
So when did you realize that she was going to do that?
I'll be honest, I was confused. I saw Kim, and I'm like, oh, so they're just going to hang out.
First time I saw it, too, I was like, wait.
This is weird. Why did Kim, did she just follow her to say, oh, they're going to tour at the...
And then you see the van with the Grateful Dead logo on it.
Okay. I guess that's cool. You know the only part of that I didn't really like?
Tell me.
I didn't like that she straight up lied to everybody.
She had to, though. She couldn't tell them the truth.
I guess not. But
they would have specifically driven her to U of M.
I guess that's why she said, "Don't do it." I got to do this to clear my head.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Personally, I think it's a bad choice. But look,
I guess
Lindsay's made a lot of bad choices this year. in this series.
I guess like a young
She's finding herself.
person. Yeah, and you got to make the bad mistake.
And she's a goody-goody. She doesn't want to be anymore. Her grandmother's dead.
Yeah, she's trying to live a little.
She's trying to explore life and whatever.
Sure.
But it is funny that, Kim even prompts her to not do this. Go to the conference. But obviously she's happy with, what Lindsay decides. But,
look, Dan.
Tell me.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
2 weeks at Yale.
Mm-hmm.
You can still see the Grateful Dead the rest of the summer if you need to sneak away.
Yeah, I guess.
If you really want to. You got the whole summer.
But 2 weeks after they leave, they could be halfway across the country by then.
That's true. I guess if they're starting
can't go
in
see
Michigan,
them then,
dang it.
They could be in Dallas, Texas by then, or whatever.
Would she fall in love with the Grateful Dead that quickly after one album? Even I never fell in love with
I sure
any.
didn't.
Look, I like music a lot, but I don't know if I ever fell in love.
What would you say is the core theme of this entire series, though? To me, I would say it's identity.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that definitely fits.
Certainly with Lindsay. I mean, the Geeks kind of have their identity. Sam has sort of branched out or tried to.
Just coming of age, growing up stuff.
But Bill stayed the same. Neil's basically stayed the same.
They're the same.
But specifically, like Lindsay, Daniel,
growth,
even Kim.
Change finding
Kim
yourself.
and her are best friends now.
Yeah.
By the end of this,
that's true.
So I think a central theme is finding your identity.
Sure.
And so to me, this makes logical sense for the character.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I don't like it as if that happened to my kid or my friend, I would be genuinely pissed.
Maybe I'm just
if they did it.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my sensibilities changing.
Maybe
because I feel like I might have viewed it a little differently when I was younger. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I totally get what you're saying, but it still bothers me for some reason.
But do you think it's out of line with the character or the show?
Not entirely, no.
Okay, but somewhat.
Wow. I think they could have. You know what I think could have been perfectly fine?
Okay, tell me.
I think Lindsay could have said, "Screw it, I'll go to Yale and have fun time with that too."
Okay.
I feel like there's a way they could have pulled that off, and it wouldn't have been. They could have gone another direction.
They could have,
and she could have still been, because she doesn't really care. I thought in this episode she didn't care about being cool or anything. I don't know.
No, it wasn't about being cool necessarily, but
she didn't really like the idea.
Think about the fact that she rejoined the Mathletes a few episodes ago and realized this is not what I want to do. This is not for me.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, I guess it is in line with that. It's not really for her anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe she.
Look, I agree with you.
Maybe and
the dad that it is a bad decision.
Well, you know what? I guess young people will make those,
horrible decisions.
And it fits with Nick. Just diving into disco, even though it makes no real sense.
Yeah.
So I guess it fits. It's a bad decision, but young people got to try new things to grow.
Yeah.
Learn. So. Yeah, it's fine.
Is there anything else we want to talk about with this episode before we...
Talk about the show.
Well, before we even talk about the show, I'm going to tell you some of the plots that they were thinking of for a possible season 2 were going to occur.
Even better.
So we might find out some of the things.
Maybe that's also part of the problem for me, is that, I was sort of satisfied with a lot of it, and then I felt like there were some things that were left open that I wanted more, and I knew I'm never going to get any. And so I'm like, I won't know how and it didn't feel as conclusive as I wanted it to be.
Right.
And that's partially runtime and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, they were constrained 42 minutes. Well, which is part of the reason why you didn't need all the Ben Stiller stuff in the last episode. It's like
we don't have time for this.
Such a perfect episode with the Ken stuff. It's like
that was a great episode.
They could have built in a little bit, but obviously they wrote this and recorded it 5 episodes ago. So whatever.
That's true.
But so Kim was going to get pregnant on the road while she was with the dead.
Cool.
So that was going to be...
I could have seen that.
Something.
Be good.
Nick was going to be forced by his father to go into the army.
Sure.
And
needs to, because disco dancing's not going to
Disco's
work.
dead. Disco's not going to happen. Dead.
Magic, maybe.
Maybe.
As a magician, he should have
Maybe
done
with
that.
the magic. Sam's parents, Neil's parents rather, end up getting
I'm
divorced.
about to say Sam's parents get divorced.
You know, I was confused because the real name is Sam.
Okay.
Sam Levine. But Neil's parents do end up getting divorced.
Yeah, I've got to fall with that.
So he's, got to cope with that. But it seemed kind of closed that, like, okay, we're not going to get a divorce. Things like this happen.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, they decided to possibly open that back up. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, one that I really hate, and I'm glad they didn't do this bit. Daniel ends up in jail. I kind of like this Daniel with the D&D and the Geeks and everything, because I think he's really found his niche.
Oh, I think
D&D.
I think with the D&D and the
Geeks.
AV club and learning about working in a movie theater or movies, I think that could have been a whole thing.
I think that could have been great. I don't know, but look, maybe
we
don't know. But that's anyway what Paul Feig said that he had sort of planned for the characters. I don't remember him saying anything about Lindsay though.
Really?
No.
Maybe, please give me something.
Maybe she dies on the road. Wouldn't that be horrible? Character dies.
That would be subversive.
And
should have went to University of Michigan. You
end of character.
Dumb B.
But
welcome to the OC.
Welcome to the OC. B. Plug
the other videos, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, those were some of the things that they were looking at for number 2.
I like all those except for the jail bit.
Except for the jail bit.
You know what I'm mad about? Oh, we're not gonna have any ideas to follow up Lindsay. You know what, man?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember reading about anything with Lindsay.
The point is, they didn't know. They were just like, we don't know.
Well, because it didn't matter. At the end of the day, they knew they were getting canceled. At the end of the day, they knew this was the series finale.
It's just sadness, Dan. It's sadness.
Are you sad that are you mad because it's over? Like,
yes.
Okay. And
it's bleeding over into the
That's a fair
I'm frustrated.
thing to be upset about because it is literally one of the greatest TV shows of all time.
I think that's what it is.
And it only got one season.
I think that's why all this stuff they're leaving me hanging with is angering me.
For me, I've put that to bed about 15 years ago.
Well,
because I stopped watching it. I watched it
that was like 2 hours ago, Dan.
I know. I understand. So you're still...
I'm annoyed.
Look,
I'm annoyed.
I wrote a fanfic for the first episode of season 2. Yes, I did.
I thought you said you wrote to NBC a fan letter.
No, look, fan fiction.
Now, you wrote fan fiction, Dan?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Well, now,
this is new.
Keep in mind, that I used to write, like, TV show scripts and stuff when I was a kid. I wrote, like, a bunch of Cheers scripts. I sent one into him once. In high school. You didn't know that?
Don't know if you've ever told me this.
Oh, yeah, I tell everybody. I'm quite proud of it. But, I have a bunch of, like, full episodes of Cheers that I've written.
What?
And some other shows. I made up a couple shows. But, yes, I was also unsatisfied with the fact that we would be getting no more Freaks and Geeks. What's very interesting is one of my plots, by the by, had Nick going off to the army, and that was long before I read anything that Paul Feig had to say.
It was his idea. They took it.
So they stole it from a fanfic.
Where's that residual? That never came into fruition.
But we also explored Ken's parents a little more.
That would have been good. Actually.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
Anyway, what happened in my version? What happened in my version
should have done the second season.
What happened in my version was with Nick is that the dad got fed up. But the mom...
Oh, the mom.
...returns. And so, not to be with the dad, but to basically involved. Kick Nick's butt into gear.
Oh.
And so they decide together, like, no, you need to be shipped out.
Wow.
So anyway.
Because Nick has mommy issues, clearly.
Nick has mommy issues.
That's why he wanted Lindsay to take care of him and,
yes.
hooked up to her and all that stuff.
And I thought it could work because at the time Malcolm in the Middle was on the air, and of course the older brother was away at the military school, but yet he was in every episode. So I still thought it could work even if Nick wasn't with them. Anyway.
That could have worked. That would have been interesting.
It would have been very interesting, I thought. That was my version of what happens. But anyway... It's okay to be upset, but I think this is one of the all-time great series finales.
It may be.
Okay. Oh.
It may be.
Okay.
But
You're still mad.
I'm still mad, and I'm not satisfied with 2 story arcs, which they may be realistic, but and I know I have to take into account the time and the constraints. I just felt like there was scenes.
You're most happy about Daniel and D&D.
Daniel, like his growth.
Talk about resolving.
I felt like that whole thing.
And the Geeks story was
kind of
the Geeks' entire
the speech
life
was like, well, okay,
the speech was perfect.
Get through high school, they'll peak. You'll
yes.
That was their whole thing.
Yeah.
That was the show in the next show.
Right. Their entire year has been how do we fit in?
But damn,
this and that.
Maybe because, as we say, they don't really change so much. They just learn things.
Yes.
Whereas the freaks are a little
makes more
older.
sense because they're 14.
They grow more and
Right.
have to try to figure out more about themselves more solidly, which means that the answers are less clear.
True.
Maybe it's not always super happy. So maybe.
But at the end of the episode,
I guess Lindsay's happy.
Well, she
thinks she's happy.
She thinks she's happy.
She makes her decision and runs with it.
Yes.
It's just, and Nick is still figuring it out.
Nick's still figuring it out.
I guess that's fine.
Ken's very happy. He got his conclusion last episode.
Rock is great.
Yes.
And
Rock is great.
And I love
socks.
And I love my girlfriend, even though she may have had a penis. Yeah. So yeah, he had a great.
So he had a great arc already.
He's fine. It's fine. You saw it, but he might not have seen it. And
Kim found a best friend.
A best friend, somebody to kind of encourage her and be friends with somebody that she could respect and who was smarter and going somewhere, I guess. And she was Kim was, but I feel like Kim's character was kind of resolved like a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kim's character was resolved midway through the season.
That's the weird thing. I felt like she was hanging on, but
that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, she was taken care of.
Not a regular.
in
literally all but one episode of the show.
The secret regular.
Yeah, secret regular.
Like, also starring. She should have gotten the and.
She should have gotten the and.
And Busy Phillips. Really.
All right, so let's grade this episode, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then I guess we can talk a little bit about the show. This is already our longest, but I knew it would be.
Well, yeah.
Look, for me, it's an easy A+.
Okay.
For them to, first of all, have the foresight to be like, all right, look, we're probably not getting a second season. Let's at least try and wrap things up. I mean, obviously, look, there's always going to be loose ends. But this, to me, was the most satisfying conclusion that we could have for a one-season show that was not designed to be a one-season show. I can't think of a better one.
Well, here's the thing.
Tell me.
I think Firefly is pretty much like this.
Okay.
But Firefly got a movie, which does wrap things up. Whereas
Firefly did get a movie.
This didn't. So maybe that's why I'm thinking Serenity is, if it wasn't for Serenity, I'd probably have similar feelings about Firefly.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Same boat. So yeah.
Same boat with your A+? Ooh.
Look, here's the thing.
Joe.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I don't think I'd give Firefly's finale an A+ if there had been no movie.
Okay.
It's a great for what it is, but an incomplete show is still an incomplete show.
But any show that gets canceled is an incomplete show.
Yeah, and I can't judge.
They at least knew that it was going to be canceled, so they tried their hardest to make it a season/series finale if needed. Mm-hmm. And I personally think they did an excellent job with it.
Excellent? Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very good, which is why I would give it a solid A. It's a great episode. It is great.
It is.
It is a great episode.
I would say. Could
you talk me up to an A+? I mean, you're allowed to.
I think I've said my piece about everything that I feel about this show. I mean, I understand it's upsetting that there's no more. Mm-hmm. I understand certainly that certain characters made decisions that we don't like.
Yeah.
But nothing was out of character. I don't think. Mm-hmm. I'm still mad at Lindsay's decision. And I've seen this episode a dozen times. I'm still mad at Lindsay's decision.
Maybe I'm supposed to be mad at Lindsay's decision. I don't know.
Maybe you are.
I guess I guess it's just because I know it's the last one, and it was everything. You know,
It is the last one.
I feel the same thing about Lindsay's decision as I do Nick's. It feels so quick. It feels almost out of left field. It's like, okay, like maybe it's realistic, but like the sequence where she's dancing to Grateful Dead and then she's getting wrong. I was like, I don't know. It felt a little off to me. I don't know if I can explain.
I just feel like the fact that Nick's dad sold his drums in like the last episode or the one before,
he's got no.
Where it's like, you know, and then he meets this girl who really likes him and is into disco. He's like, okay, I'll give it a chance. Like he's really trying to find himself.
Yeah, that's true.
So whatever. I think I've said everything I can say to convince you. If you don't feel like it's an A+, I appreciate that. But I also think we don't have to come to an agreement on the grades.
True.
For me, this is an easy A+. I think the premiere was an A+. This is an A+. I think we had 2 in the middle.
Yeah.
Last week's would have been without G.D. Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what a show.
What a great show.
So let's talk about... Remember when I approached this topic and you were like... I don't know, freaks and geeks.
What a bore.
What a bore.
I was like, I guess.
And then the pilot, even, you weren't quite convinced.
No, that's the thing.
2.
It didn't immediately grab me, which it took...
Knowing what you know now, though, I wonder if you rewatched the pilot, if you would have that same A+ reaction that I have to the pilot.
I didn't, did I? I don't think I did. Did I?
No, you gave it like an A-. Like you did not. You were not
right.
with me on it.
Hey, I didn't like the pilot.
A or A-. It wasn't horrible, but it was not.
I didn't like. Remember, Dan, you've got this long history.
That's what I mean. I wonder. I certainly don't remember what I thought first time I saw the first episode.
You famously, you appreciate non-spoilers. I don't know a thing about the finale except for Grateful Dead was in it. I knew the title.
Right.
So this is new to me.
Yeah.
So it's a different.
Sure.
You've got all this foresight. You listen to the commentaries.
All the foresight.
I'm just mad at what I see. You know.
Yeah.
And look.
And that's understandable.
But
I wonder if you rewatched the pilot.
I'd probably like the pilot.
If you would agree with me that is an A+.
I think
because I really think it is.
I actually think because the pilot's the one with the bullies like attacking them.
Bullies, the mentally retarded kid.
Yeah, like
the school dance.
I think I may have been too soft on the pilot because I thinking back about it, I'm like I didn't.
I think you're too hard on the pilot.
I mean I soft on the grade. I mean, like
soft on the grade. I completely agree. To me, that's an A+ episode. I think it's a near perfect pilot.
It was a very good pilot. I don't know. I'd have to go back and think about the show again, and I'm sure I'd feel differently about it. You know,
I really think you would.
It's hindsight, though.
Yeah, well, of course. I know all these characters.
You wrote fan
I've known
fiction.
them. I wrote the fan fiction.
You've resolved your issues with Lindsay.
Yes.
So, like, I'm just saying. I
agree.
I'm fine saying this isn't perfect. I don't think The Sopranos conclusion is perfect.
Okay.
I hate it. Actually,
is that right?
Well,
I don't hate it.
Okay, it's brilliant, but here's a perfect example.
Okay.
Sopranos ending. I think it's one of the best endings in television history.
Okay, but...
Do I secretly love it? No. I want resolution.
Hate it.
I hate the cut to black. Is it brilliant? Yes. Am I mad about it? Yes. That's the point, yes.
I don't have this
you weren't as mad about
need
it.
for closure that I think some people have.
I thought you were a person that, like in movies, you don't like open-ended stuff usually.
I don't mind open-ended. Look,
everybody's
story has to continue. Like, unless it's literally, like, what's a movie where literally everyone, like Titanic or something, you know, but of course she even goes on. But she tells my heart will go on.
For 3 hours she talks about it.
But, she gives us a resolution, though, because she's the old woman, but...
I'm not saying you need resolution, but I guess you know how it is. Like,
although even Titanic, there's the debate of like, oh, do they die at the end, or is this a dream? No, she dies, you dummy.
Well, there's fan theories.
But like, okay, for example, Our Friend Destiny.
Yes.
If a movie doesn't have a
solid,
dead set, this is what happened to these characters, she like hates it. It like ruins the movie for her.
Because she's left hanging.
I don't have that.
Well, I mean, a lot of movies don't.
I find the interpretation interesting.
Sure.
I certainly have my opinions on what happens at the end of Sopranos. Well, I think Tony gets murdered.
Brad gets shot in the face. Yeah.
I mean, but other people disagree. And other people agree, and that's fine.
And you know what? Not to go off topic, but I'm sure Feige was the same way. It's like I wouldn't change the ending if I could. He's like, I did it intentionally.
Yes.
So
look, I think everyone agrees that pretty much the most perfect ending to a series was Cheers. Everybody, the last like 2 or 3 episodes had their entire arcs. They were off doing what they were doing. The last episode, everything, not that there was like hanging threads in Cheers, but the last scene is Sam closing the bar and
it feels
for the night,
like a conclusion,
realizing that this is where he's meant to be, and da 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 da. Everybody around him's moving on. Frasier's moving to Seattle. Whatever.
You know me, Dan. I'm not saying a movie or a show or a book has to have a straight conclusion, but sometimes it's nice. And for a wholesome show like this, it would have been nice.
If they had 5 years, who knows?
And this is,
but they didn't.
And the only issue I have, why I guess I'm still pulled, is because I feel like the Geeks, it is nice. It's stamped. You know it is.
Yeah,
and that's good. And
it's great.
I wish there was just a little more of that with the Freaks, I guess. But Daniel got it.
Daniel definitely got it. Ken got it.
So it's like,
and I think Busy Phillips got it.
6 episodes.
6 episodes ago. She's been on the train.
Best character. Right?
No.
Oh, I thought you loved her.
Actually, maybe. Actually, she might be my.
Actually.
All right. So we got to talk about the show.
I'll spoil something for you.
Okay.
I think you're not going to believe this, because I don't know if I believe it.
Daniel's your favorite character?
I think he is.
I told you at the beginning. Now
I'm so mad.
Okay, listen.
I'm so mad right now. It just hit me now. I think he is.
Really?
They watched it, I hope.
The first couple of episodes was like, oh, I hate him. He's such a jerk. And I said, what did I was like, Joe,
just wait.
He gets an episode. Just wait.
Everybody gets an episode.
Just wait.
I'm sure he's fine.
Just wait.
And it's just a little bit. It wasn't like immediate. Like a little more.
Daniel is definitely
he's up
top 3.
He's really good.
For me. Favorite of the children. Because really the dad, I mean,
he's like kind of actually.
He's like goat. I mean, but we're not going to talk about that.
I like that. I know. That's good.
Listen, I'm hip.
That was good. That was good. Greatest of all time. That's good.
But listen, he's like the MVP of the show. For comedy, realistically,
he's got the best.
I think he's the MVP of the show.
All right. Actually, I don't know, but Rosso's great. I mean, honestly, Lindsay obviously is a fantastic character, but like my personal favorite, I think Daniel's growth was just so well.
Yeah.
And like I said, I felt one way about him.
Yes.
Completely opposite by the end.
And we don't get that very often in shows.
Walter White.
Certainly not a one season show. Yeah, but it took a while to come around on
6 seasons or whatever. Yeah.
No, I think Daniel might actually be mine too.
You defend him. You're like, no joke, just wait.
Yeah, I always defend him. And it's honestly, to this day, why I'm such a Franco fan. Mm-hmm. Franco's had some bad movies. He's a bit of an odd guy.
He's a bit of an egotistical guy.
He's a little egotistical, I think.
But he loves his job. He loves acting and stuff.
And he loves doing different things.
Or being artistic.
He loves being artistic, and that's fine. But, I think because of the Daniel character...
He learned a lot.
I've always had this soft spot for him. Because I'm trying to think of the first thing I saw him in post Freaks and Geeks.
I know the first thing I saw him in.
What?
Well, he's Harry Osborn.
Actually, that probably was the first thing I saw him in.
Which is weird. So
because that would have been 2002.
So this is like right after. So he was probably.
You know what? You're right. That actually would have been the first thing I saw him in, Harry Osborn.
And you know what? Talk about a different character. He's a good actor. He's a really good actor.
I mean, I don't think that's in denial.
Some people don't like him.
Some people don't. My mom hates him. She hates his dumb face.
Well, some people.
My dad loves him.
Just the personality, the way.
11/26/63.
Also,
Oz.
I love that show.
127 hours.
I like a lot of the things he's in.
And then the comedy stuff that he does
with a lot of the
Disaster Artist and
exactly. He's got talent.
Interview. The guy's got a lot of talent
for sure. Maybe. I think Bill's kind of my.
I think he's the most. He's good. Sympathetic character in the show.
He's the most.
Especially when we see. 2 episodes ago, that home life situation.
You're like, well, he's got a lot going on.
Hated seeing that, but I mean, look, the Geeks are certainly there for more comic relief.
More,
I certainly identify more with them from when I was in high school.
They would have been more my friends.
I feel like I identify with the things that the Freaks go through. That's stuff I was going through, I think, after high school. I had my group in high
Yeah.
school. We were the Geeks. We
Yeah.
did what we did. I didn't care. It was fine.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until I got to college and maybe even into my 20s that I was really sort of trying to figure out certain things that they were trying to figure out. Because, like, I knew I wanted to be on the radio when I was in 4th grade. And then I went to college for communications. Then I was on the radio. It was all set out.
Nice.
Daniel doesn't have that.
No, a lot of people.
And a lot of people don't. And I didn't really experience that until my 20s.
Well, everybody has their issues where they stumble a bit, but at
Yeah.
different points, yeah. Like some people, it's like you go to high school and college, you feel like you know what you want to do, and then that changes.
Yeah.
So that's
So
cool.
I think for high school purposes, I identify more with the Geeks. After high school is when I identify more with the Freaks.
Sounds right.
But yeah, I mean, I think Daniel and Kim are easily 2 of the 3 best characters in the show. I think the third one you could sort of alternate
Different
which
people.
geek is your favorite.
Well, because the problem is all the characters are so good. There really is
And Lindsay's great.
There's no wrong answer.
There is no wrong answer.
There's no wrong
except, let me think.
The
math teacher.
The one math teacher, yeah, he was bad.
Math teacher
Can't
is
like
wrong.
him.
Bill's mom's probably the wrong answer.
Yeah, she's not. She's okay.
But in terms of the main
Bully
characters,
is actually a great character.
Bully actually has a decent arc.
He's a decent arc.
But listen, Daniel's character, well, and actually Harris
is a really
is one of the great supporting characters.
I really wish he was like in it more.
I know, but at the same time,
he serves.
I think he's in it the perfect amount.
The doses.
Yes,
he's got his little lines.
They go to him for the advice,
and that's it.
He gives it, and it's perfect every time.
Sage.
Didn't
even have a name for most of the episodes we watched.
I know, we didn't really know it was Harris for
most of the show.
Yeah,
Coach Biff also.
Coach Biff is okay, but boy, I go back and forth on him, which is the point.
But that's well-written character.
That's the point. Well-written character.
I like that.
What do you think? What do you think about Lindsay on the whole?
Great character.
Great character.
I don't
right?
have a problem with her character.
We hated some of her decisions,
but I get that. Look, I hate Walter White's decisions, but I still think he's
some of them are not good. Okay, some of them are downright bad.
Great, like fleshed out, realistic. Yeah. People make wrong decisions, but if it's conveyed well, and she's a great performer. I don't think I've seen her in anything else.
Yeah,
like she's great. Characters.
But you've never seen Linda Cardellini in anything else?
I don't think so.
Of course you have. I keep telling you this. She is Jeremy Renner's wife in all the Avengers movies. I've told you that 5 times now, probably recorded on this show, everybody.
And I forgot every time. That's how unmemorable her character.
Well,
she's right. Hawkeye's wife.
Hawkeye's wife is maybe not the best.
To be fair, she's probably making more money than she did on this.
Yes, she's on a very popular Netflix show, Dead to Me, with Christina Applegate.
All right, look, she wasn't the.
She
Avengers.
pops up.
I'm sure she
pops up.
She was a good Renner wife.
She's fine.
This is what I'm saying.
The plot, I know.
I watched a couple of her interviews.
Yeah.
And she...
Good person. Oh, you know what she was on for like several seasons was ER in like some of the later years of ER. Which I know you don't watch. I'm just telling you other things she's done.
I know she's done things. I'm just saying I haven't seen her much.
Okay. I mean, all these people have done stuff. The Geeks, more behind the scenes. And then the Freaks, of course, we see everywhere. Siegel and... not Apatow, Rogan, Franco.
But people want to have good careers in the industry. And
stuff.
I mean, I'm glad that it's a pretty tight unit. All fond memories of the show.
Yeah, and of course Bill from Spider-Man. Another Spider-Man connection.
Yeah, I honestly didn't recognize him at all. You told me that with the mustache and everything.
I remember one more thing that they were going to do for season 2 about Bill.
Oh, great! Please.
Basketball.
Oh.
Remember this whole season he's been trying
Sports.
to whatever. And they keep talking in the commentary about how he like really got kind of jacked and they had to keep putting the character in like long sleeves
to hide
the so apparently I guess because of that they were going to have him actually, because of his height, because of his muscles, basketball star.
Could see it.
I could see it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Bill's
probably your favorite geek.
Yeah. Which surprises me.
Which is interesting because you're more of a Neil.
If I had to pick the person,
and I'm more of a Sam.
I was thinking, yes, I was thinking about this too, and the beautiful thing about the show, character writing, is that I see a little bit of myself in all of these characters. Freaks.
Yeah,
I could see a bit, I think I wanted to be more of the cool loner guy, but probably more geeky.
But you were not. Neither was I.
I feel. Yeah, that's weird. I really like Bill a lot.
Yeah.
As a character, and I relate to some of the things his character went through. But Neil, just the humor and the references,
You're a Neil.
the joke,
Shatner love,
the corny, the Shatner love. I'm
Shatner
like,
love.
it's but I don't think I don't know. I don't think I like Neil though. I just feel like the way I present myself sometimes is Neil.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But I would say, I guess Neil's Neil is the first character that I guess I fell in love with.
Yeah.
Because of the Shatner bit and stuff like his. Yep. I was like, I like this guy. He's cool. But yeah, Bill I thought was okay. He was funny, but I don't think I loved him immediately.
No.
It slowly built.
It took a couple episodes.
And then by the time it got to some of them, I'm like, he's like got some fantastic.
Yeah, you thought he was the MVP of many episodes.
For several episodes, I was like, this show is Bill's show sometimes. He's stealing it. And it's just
Freaks and Bill, it was called. You wish.
I think Sam's just adorable. Like he's so clueless. Yeah. It's kind of his
Sam
thing.
Sam's great.
He's a great every man, every boy.
Yeah.
Like he's so like I just want to.
And then he actually got the girl, and then dumped her because she didn't like the jerk. Classic. That's a Dan move if there ever was one. I mean,
you know what, Sam?
I've dumped people for less. That's for sure.
That's impressive for a kid like to not just.
I know.
Stick
what
with
a great kid.
What a great kid! Like wow, you know.
No, and it speaks to the different parent styles that we see in the show.
Yeah.
Everybody sort of has a different
outlook on different things and how you treat relationships. They touched on so many great universal life lessons.
Yeah.
It was very, like I said, it's realistic. It's genuine. It feels authentic. I loved the pop culture references. How they filmed certain scenes, like they used the hallways, the lights in that one episode.
Yes,
the basement,
that was great.
with the upholstery and the carpets on the wall. I mean, there was some love put into so many
Lots of love.
Labor of love for sure. I mean, it's a great show, Dan. I mean, if I was gonna, I know you didn't like my grade of the episode, but it's probably like an A+ show. I mean, like
I think it's an A+ show.
Like I think it's a great show.
For me,
it's an A+ for me.
I think is that right?
Yeah,
A+ show. Okay,
probably overall. I mean, I love this show.
For me, this is a top 10 of all time show.
Wow.
It comes up all the time on like, oh, what is the best one season shows? That's a given.
That's too much
obvious. Although My So-Called Life is also excellent, and For You, Firefly. But I would say, I've never seen Firefly, so I can't say. But this is slightly better for me than My So-Called Life, even though that is a classic. And I think it's a bit. I think My So-Called Life is a bit more of a product of its time, whereas I think this is more timeless because it was already 30 years old when it was made.
And they're filming it to take place 20 years before it was made.
That's what I mean. Like, Like
so,
it's a 20-year-old show, but it's about a time that was 20 years before that. So like,
generationally, it's the same. Like,
it's like the Wonder Years. I mean, the Wonder Years really spoke to me because I was the same age as the characters when it was on, but it was set 20 years before that.
I guess it's just like I think about a lot of other shows.
Is this better than Firefly, you think? It's a hard one.
I'd have to watch Firefly again.
Okay.
That's kind of a.
I mean, two very different genres.
Yeah, it's like very much apples and oranges.
So, okay.
I'll be honest.
It's fair.
I really think they're about the same level of quality. It's just one's a space western, the other one's a coming of age high school show.
Yeah.
The only reason I would probably, it's unfair, but one had a conclusion. One kind of doesn't.
Only because of the movie, though. If the movie didn't exist, no conclusion.
If the movie didn't exist,
right?
This might be a little better because Firefly kind of leaves you hanging. I'm glad
because Freaks and Geeks, unfortunately, is not streaming anywhere or whatever. I told our good buddy Tim, Firefly fanatic.
Thank you, Tim.
That he can borrow the one I had loaned you.
Oh, nice.
So he can actually, because he's never seen Freaks and Geeks. And so he's not, watched any of our
but he wanted to watch it so he could watch, because he watches all your stuff.
He watches all my stuff, God bless him. He is a great friend.
Probably the biggest Dan Reviews It fan that I know.
I
know of.
I think so, probably, yeah. Although, our buddy Nyan that always comments on the Freaks and Geeks videos, he, or she, I actually don't know,
or they.
loves the Masked Singer videos. But they will watch Freaks and Geeks video.
Nice. Thank you.
And because we talk about it in such detail,
didn't you drop
some of the jokes,
They know the bits.
They say like, "Oh, I feel like I don't need to see it," because I already watched it.
Yeah.
Through you guys. So I always love that, and that is a true. That might be.
That's a good compliment.
The number one Dan Reviews It or Dan Reviews It fan. I don't know, but
you're up there for sure.
But yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna loan Tim the DVDs and get his opinion too, because for me this is. I don't know. I think it's probably top 10 of all time for me. I really do.
Well,
I don't know. It's hard. God, I love TV though.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. It's probably on a list. I don't know if it'll make my top 10 because I like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you've only seen it the once.
The one time.
I've seen it like a dozen times, so I'm set in the ways, and it still gets me. Like that's the thing.
It's still
but to watch something 12 times and to still get emotional about it or get invested with the characters or. Whatever. Laugh at jokes you've heard over and over again.
It doesn't lose its punch.
No, it's still
that's good.
It packs an emotional wallop. A lot of these episodes.
I don't doubt that it still holds up. I liked it a lot. I'm glad I watched it. I'm
glad we did this.
A little sad, like with Frasier. It's just it's come to its conclusion. But
Frasier lasted 11 years. And I think that was fine.
And it felt like our shows did too, is what he's saying.
I think...
We're done. This was more...
I don't think sitcoms need to go on longer than 250 episodes. That seems extreme.
Sounds extreme already.
Simpsons, come on.
He finally got him saying.
I love The Simpsons. Forget it. But
yeah, you're right. I think I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah. Speaking of Frasier, by the way, before we wrap up this video,
I guess we're gonna do another.
We're going to do one more Frasier video, by the way, because we realized we never really
did a culmination,
did a definitive top 10 list or top 5 list or whatever. And now that the movie theater I work at is temporarily closed, we don't have any movies. We were watching old movies that we had running. But we've been sort of just going and watching whatever we want, which is how we got the OC on.
A lot of your recent videos, like Dan's Big Movie.
They're all movies that we're watching in the theater, which is great.
Like subscriber movie requests, we tie with another movie for the anniversary or something, and the OC reviews.
Yep.
We watch everything in the theater now,
so
which is
decided,
awesome
let's check out our favorite Frasier episodes theatrically. It'll be a lot of fun.
Look, if the OC gets the big screen treatment,
Frasier has to. So we're going to do, I don't think it'll be up probably before the end of the year, but we'll do it, and early in 2021 we will have one final sort of Frasier wrap-up. Tossed salad and scrambled eggs video.
That's it. Just no context.
No context. And then Hannibal will start at some point in 2021. No guarantees on when, but I'm thinking maybe around February because we decided maybe we'll do Silence of the Lambs for Dan's big movie.
Ooh,
remember?
Did we?
Because that'll be the 30th anniversary.
You got Silence of the Lambs. We'll have to talk about it because we were doing.
Yeah,
we were gonna
for February. Yeah, January we have a different one.
Yeah, we're gonna. I forget what we were. El
Mariachi
or Desperado or something.
Desperado, that's what it was.
The other one.
So anyway, but
things coming.
Hannibal will be the next one. But I'm so glad we got you on Freaks and Geeks.
Hey, did you doubt I'd like it?
Never. Listen, I've never shown it to anybody that didn't like it.
I loved it.
I always say, that's how I used to judge my friends, my new friends. I would loan them Freaks and Geeks if they never saw it. If they liked it, then I knew we were friends. But no one's ever not liked it, so is it really a litmus test? I don't know, but...
there's probably someone that doesn't like it.
Yes, and I don't want to be friends with that person.
I wouldn't jive.
I don't think we would share the sensibilities. But you appreciate... See, a lot of people pigeonhole you.
Thank you.
Sci-fi.
They do.
It's
been happening lately.
Many people who only think you are the sci-fi guy only.
I mean,
you love sci-fi.
Our podcast, I did sci-fi. I was the comic. I thought it was
sci-fi or comic book, right? Sci-fi or superhero. That's it.
I like many other
Nothing
things.
else. But I know you better than that. Sopranos,
obviously,
love it.
Only mafia movies. Then.
Frasier, I love it.
I liked other. I have a
Drew Carey.
I love it. Carey.
So look, I knew you would love this because you love
things,
competent writing,
above all,
great character development.
I just like interesting
humor. You love humor.
I will admit, the pop culture geekiness with the sci-fi references was definitely a factor of why I liked this. But if it hadn't been that, I still would have appreciated it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the hook to kind of get you really in those first couple episodes. The Shatner impressions. the Star Trek routines, whatever.
That was good.
But once then you got to know the characters after a couple episodes, you were like, oh my god, best show. And it's up there.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I loved it.
All right, well, great. A+ from us.
I recommend it.
One of the great shows. As of the recording of this, not streaming anywhere, but look, you never know. Movies and shows go on and off streamers constantly.
I mean,
look. What would be great if now that NBC has the Peacock app, if they put it up on Peacock. That would be awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you like these sort of shows and you haven't seen it, you'll probably like this one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, if you like, what is it? One Tree Hill, Degrassi.
Yeah.
You'd think this is like...
so much better.
This is like...
The Creek.
The cream of the crop. Like, this is better than Dawson's Creek, I'm sure. Not that I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I've got it. But this is like...
Real.
This is like those shows,
Primo.
but it's pushing it.
Yeah.
It is great quality television.
Best for me.
Best show.
Literally. I mean, it's in my top 10 of all time. I really think.
I believe it. It's a great show.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining, as always. If you do like sci-fi and comic book stuff, Merlin channel.
I do have a
but
channel.
Other things too.
Yeah.
You've got, well, Drinkable Alchemy is its own channel, but you also have the Drinkable Alchemy channel. But then you do the Joe Loves Movies on your channel. You do, which are not all sci-fi.
No.
You do. Listen, I know others don't. And then you do the Flamethrowers in Cinema. You do live Q&As very often. So
do podcasts.
Lots of things.
There's lots of stuff.
So Merlin the Mighty, it's called.
Thank you.
Thank you as always for joining.
Of course.
It's been a great Freaks and Geeks. This is one of really the bright spots of 2020 for me.
Me too.
2020 has been a garbage year for many people.
Yeah.
And we're in that mix.
Yeah.
We've both had
stuff happen.
Personal family stuff and obviously 2020
in general
COVID stuff.
Yeah. It's been a rough year.
So it's been a rough year. Freaks and Geeks Fridays for me. Going through this show again has been great. I always love introducing it to somebody.
Look, Frasier Friday segued into this, and
we started with Frasier Friday in 2020 and ended on this. So.
And I was sad about that, but this picked up, and it was a great bright spot too. I agree.
Good. I'm glad.
Good idea.
All right, that's it. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.